Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now today I've got a bunch of things to show you. I'm going to try and keep this short and succinct if I can, but there's a lot to show here. What I'll do is I'll explain some of the things and what I think they might be, and then I'll put clips in as well after each thing that I've shown, rather than wait to the end of the video, okay? So I'll put the clips in as we go along. That will probably save a bit of time, okay? Right, now the first one's this. This is Curiosity Rover, Sol 4033. You cannot tell me that this is a standard normal rock on Mars. Not only do we have this very strange curve, which indicates a very curved, strange object below the sand here, but we also have these spikes. I'll show you the magnifier, hover zoom magnifier. So we got this curve, and then we have these spikes on this material here, which looks to me like corroded metal. We got spikes coming out, long thin spikes, not quite like the ones we've seen before, but similar. They are similar, but they're long straight ones. They're sort of quite narrow. There's not a hell of a lot of detail here. Unfortunately, these Curiosity rover images are pretty bad. This is what the raw image looks like. They are terrible, I would say. They're this horrible sort of pukey orange colour, right? And there it is in raw. You can see it there. But all the details there, it's just hard to see. You can see that curve and these spikes sticking up. So I put the raw one in next to the enhanced one here, which is a lot clearer. It's quite easy to do, actually. I just use colour correction and then play with the contrast and brightness. And this is what I got from it. The actual real colours of this sand is a lot bluer in reality and darker. But you can actually see the thing quite well here. And there's lots of weird stuff in the area. I mean, we got lots of sedimentary layers here with complex erosion. But this goes against the grain. It is completely different to the other stuff. It seems like there's something very old buried here to give it that shape. And if I use the magnifier again, we should be able to see. I mean, that curve is very, very odd, and it really stands out. And you can see these spiky parts of what seems to be corroded steel or iron or something similar, I would say. Some kind of metal. Very, very odd. It's one of the best examples I've seen of this. I have shown quite a few before of some of this material, a lot of which is concrete, with metal spikes sticking out. And there was one that went quite viral about a year ago, or 6 months ago or something, the Mars spikes. So I'll put some clips of that in as well to compare it, okay? This is Perseverance rover Sol 962, the Megapan, right? This hasn't been enlarged, it's just been enhanced. There's loads of weird stuff in here. I've only just begun properly looking through it over the last few weeks, really. And it would take you weeks and weeks to search this properly. There's so much here. But there's not really much point in me showing you everything I found, because most of them are just ambiguous looking things that could be anything. But there are some interesting things. I'll show you this first. Up on the ridge here, we have what seems to be a skull just here. There it is. Eye socket there. Another one here. It's looking this way. And what seems to be a sort of broken nose. There's no jaw. There's no teeth. It's buried. It's just kind of sat there. I've got clips of this. It looks like a skull, probably is. I have shown many, many skulls before. Well over 100 I've shown so far. A lot of them are humanoid. Not necessarily human, but humanoid, right? And this may be another one, because we've got a very clear kind of eye socket there, and another one here on the on the side. Unfortunately, we're seeing it kind of side on almost. It's hard to confirm these things sometimes until you see another angle, okay? And we may never see it from the front. Over here was the main thing, which I have been looking at now for a while. And this may be, I'm not sure, this may be an actual burial, an exposed burial. We have a skull here, possible skull here, with what looks like some kind of sarcophagus here, which is all kind of fossilized and mineralized. Okay, now I'll go back a bit and show you with the magnifier, and then I'll show you the clips I've got because they make more sense. This, I think, may be a skull, right? And this is the body in a sarcophagus, like some of the ones I've shown before. I'll put some clips in of those now. So if this is a sarcophagus, it wouldn't be the first one. One very clear one, at least, has been found in this crater, and at least one pretty clear one has been found in Gale Crater as well. Okay, so this may be number 3. I've also shown lots of other exposed burials. They're often in shrouds, and then inside a sort of body-shaped coffin, okay, which is kind of like a sarcophagus, like very similar to what you would see in ancient Egypt or somewhere like that. Okay, that's what we've seen so far. So this may be another one, I don't know. This is completely raw, enhanced. You can see the whole thing there. That looks like a skull, and it looks like the surrounding part of the sarcophagus or coffin, whatever you want to call it, is broken away here, and may have been made of actual stone. Okay, but we seem to have, like in here, we seem to have some sort of details on this thing, like an arm here, perhaps. But it's heavily eroded and pitted, and we got these kind of holes. These would start out quite small, these holes, and then the wind would gradually carve them out into these kind of ovoid holes. I don't think they're part of the actual thing. Here's a close-up of what I think is the skull. Look closely here, you can see what may be eye detail. One here and one there. This is the whole thing, enhanced, much brighter. There's a close-up of that. Possible skull. This is one end of it, the foot end, if that is what it is. There's some very strange things on here that don't look like normal features, like this. But I may be mistaken. I mean, this may just be some rocks. But when you look at the other ones that have been found in the area, it could well be a burial that's eroded and broken down, where it was once probably buried in sand, and may have even had a small structure around it, like a little tomb. There's also these other weird things in the area. Now, pay attention to this one here, especially. We've got this weird angled one here, and the one behind it is very odd. Now, here's a close-up of that. This has been darkened a bit more. We got the weird angled one here, right, on the left. And then near the middle, we have this weird one with the teeth here. And then like a spring with a chain going through it. So a lot of this stuff isn't just rock. This is very near that bunker door that I showed about a week or two ago, okay? This is literally only 10 or 20 meters away from it. Less than 100 yards. And if there was an airplane crash in this area, which I think there may have been, then there'd be metal wreckage strewn all over the place. And that's what we see. They're not all just like small meteors, these bright, shiny, metallic-looking rocks. I think a lot of them are actually wreckage from a crash. And that door that I showed, the bunker door, is part of it. Either from an aircraft or some kind of vehicle that crashed here. And there's lots of metal bits all over the place, right? Shiny blue metallic objects, and a lot of them look mechanical, okay? And that's sort of near the rover here, just in front of it. The skull is up here on the ridge, and those weird objects are down here. They're a bit dark in here, but you can see that, actually, if you use the magnifier, you can see the chain there, that chain there. We got the teeth, a little spring, and a chain going through the possible object here. And we have that weird angled one there. But you may want to take clips yourself and brighten it up. You can take clips from the raw gigapan of this and then do your own enhancements if you like. I mean, you can probably get more detail out of this than me. But we got lots of weird stuff in here, and we got things like this really bright object here. This looks like titanium or something, right? The light signature on this is very, very close to titanium. The luminosity reading on this. So who knows what a lot of this stuff is. I mean, this is weird, this thing. So who knows, but there's loads and loads of crazy things in here. And I don't really have time to show you everything here. I mean, there's just tons of stuff. Lots of weird objects on the ground. And a lot of it looks metallic, like this one does here. And looks like some kind of metal, like steel, okay? Or titanium. So there's loads of it. And this looks like a debris field. And we are, like I said, very close to that bunker door that I showed recently that's on the ground, the one with the handle on it, right? Then we have weird things like this, which looks like a carving of an animal here. I'll show you that briefly. Nothing too remarkable about it, but we've got an eye here and a snout with a nose on the end and a neck, and what looks like the remains of a body here, which is all kind of scalloped out by the wind and eroded away. So this looks like a carving of an animal. I have shown many, many before. I'll stick a couple in now to show you what I mean. So many have been found in this crater before. Dozens of animals, carved animals. A lot of them are dogs. We've had cats, dogs, monkeys, and all sorts of things. This is just an overview to introduce you to this gigapan because it's absolutely huge. It's over 80,000 by, it's nearly 82,000 by 8,500 pixels, right? And it took me a hell of a lot of work to get this to even stitch together, especially over here, this mound and area here. So we've also got this view here of Jezero Crater. This is the entrance to Jezero Crater, right? And I'll put some clips of this in. This is like crazy. You got all these weird mounds and stuff. But you need to take a clip of that and then crank up the contrast to see anything. If you go onto my latest Gigapans link from the description, you can actually compare a lot of these things as we get closer to them, right? And this one here, this ridge here, has got amazing stuff in it. Like the detail in here is insane, right? Look at this detail. Absolutely crazy detail going on here. Some really weird things in here as well. And we have a weird sort of joint, like a masonry joint here, right? Get the magnifier. We have this foot-shaped object coming round, and then it has this kind of part sticking out that is locked in to this part. Now, what natural process could possibly do that, do you think? Because I can't think of any. So this kind of looks like some sort of plinth or object that may have had a statue stood on it. This may be a foot or something. Who knows? what this is, but there's loads of crazy stuff in here, and you're going to have a lot of fun looking at this one. This is Sol 995, mass left, mass right, crazy fragments. Okay, so follow the links below, use the magnifier. You can use hover zoom or there's a Google one, there's all sorts of magnifiers you can use. You can set the level yourself, have a look, and you will find some crazy stuff in here. And it's not all just rocks. Most of it is, of course, but there are things here like skulls, there are fossils, there are broken objects, there's wreckage, there's all sorts of weird stuff that you won't understand. And frankly, I don't understand a lot of it, to be honest, but there's some really good detail in here with this one. Okay, and this ridge here corresponds to this one over here. That is what we're looking at here. Okay, so the rover's driven down here, and that 995 ridge is this one. And you can actually see some of the same rocks here up on the ridge, some of these complex ones in this one. Okay, but this is where the rover's moved along towards Jezero Crater now, looking at this ridge closer up. Okay, so thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my other recent videos. I will see you soon.